Oh, Dr. Dunaway, welcome back to the PT on Ice podcast.
I'm glad to be here. The plant, it's crazy. This plant hasn't grown an inch since the last time I was here.
Thank you for the 7 people who are on YouTube who are probably making fun of our artificial plant that never grows. Dr. Dunaway, we're going to have an episode about teaching, and I think a great leadoff question for this episode is, what is the best lecture that you've ever seen as a learner or as an audience member? What is a presentation or piece of content that you took in that you were just found yourself totally enamored, totally all about it? What's the best presentation you've ever seen?
Oh man, that's so interesting because like the probably the second half of my career, now that I'm like that teaching is the main thing.
Yeah.
Like I love going to lectures. I love listening to people talk. I couldn't tell you anything about the content, like what I was supposed to learn. I could tell you everything about how they delivered the content.
Interesting.
So fascinated with that stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things, like the one presentation that really sticks out in my mind that really kind of made me deep dive on kind of the art of the delivery was 4, 5, 6 years ago now, Manipalooza, the last one.
2025, just before COVID.
It'd be 6 years.
Just before COVID, 6 years.
Because that was right before I started at South.
Yep.
Larry Benz.
Totally.
And it was just there were a lot of great presentations, and everybody kind of has a different style. Yeah. And his was so dynamically different than every other presenter, but everybody in the room leaned in. Like it wasn't just like I wasn't just into it and analyzing, dissecting how he's doing it. Everybody in the room was just like you could hear a pin drop. Everybody was just so in on it.
I love that. Larry's classic for that. And shout out to Larry Benz. A little bit of an aside here, but if you're not reading his Substack articles, he has put out like 8 or 10 gems in the past year talking about the state of physical therapy in general. I just want to give him that plug because he puts a lot of work in. They are long, they are well thought out. But yeah, his presentation style is one that you can be quickly engrossed in.
For sure.
Let's talk about teaching. Your career's been so interesting because you've done so many things. I mean, you've been in clinic all the way along. You ran a huge nonprofit in Haiti for a bunch of years. You had a clinic there training up folks in Haiti. You have done a lot with political advocacy. But you've always been drawn, part of you's always been drawn to teaching. Now at South College, along with, of course, Ice Physio since we started. Dude, what is it about teaching? Like with all these other things you've done and had success in, you keep coming back to that as an anchor in your career. And it seems like almost something you're doubling down on now as you're kind of getting into the back half of your career. What is it about teaching? What draws you there?
I mean, the short answer is I love it.
Yeah.
I love being in the classroom. I've always enjoyed patient care and have done some cool things in that space.
Yep.
But I love teaching.
Yeah.
I love the challenge of taking complex stuff, breaking it down, turning it into like a story that's engaging and flows, and really being able to kind of shift the narrative for different learners in the room, and just seeing like people lean in, seeing them really get it. And like just that the skill of that transfer of knowledge is so fun.
It's a skill that's so important to everybody listening to the show, whether they know it or not. Teaching your patient, teaching your clinic members, doing an awesome workshop, getting on a podcast and getting your name out there about what you're trying to do or patients you could benefit. The ability to craft a narrative that gets people to stop what they're doing and to lean in, and to then maybe take actionable, steps from that narrative is one that so few people have. Partly, most folks are afraid of it. Like, I mean, don't they say it's like the biggest, which has always shocked me. I think it's like the biggest phobia is getting in front of people and talking, public speaking.
It used to be my biggest phobia.
Really?
For sure. So the little backstory, started in engineering school, and we had a mandatory 1 credit hour public speaking course.
Yeah.
And I would sign up for the terrifying, there's only 6 people in class. The midterm was like the first major assignment. You had to do a 5-minute presentation on anything for the class. And I would drop out right before the midterm. Like I would just panic. I couldn't do it. I'd drop out, withdraw. Next semester, take it again, withdraw.
Really?
Finally,
you've never told me this.
Yeah, so finally the third time I did it and kind of got through and was fine. And I was like, never public speaking again. Long story short, switch into exercise science, get into PT school, go through the whole program, never public speaking again. in our capstone, we had to like design a case study. And then once you did it, you could submit it to a conference if you wanted to. So I submitted mine, and then I got selected to do an abstract presentation at the ACSM West Conference. Just terrified. And I remember, so Ken Learman, another big name in the profession, he was my advisor in grad school, and we were buddies. We were in triathlon club together and stuff, and he drove up with me, spent the night there, and then he was going to hang out for my presentation. And I remember he gave me, I love the man, he gave me some of the worst advice ever, or the worst pep talk ever that would just stick in my brain. We're sitting at breakfast I couldn't sleep that night. We're sitting at breakfast that next morning, and Learman says, he says, Dunaway, you're not eating. Are you nervous? I was like, yes, I'm very nervous. And he said, yeah. He's like, dude, I've been teaching my whole career. And he's like, I get up in front of all of you every day, lecture all day. I'm a Con Ed instructor for MAPS. I fly around the country. I've been doing these weekend seminars my whole career. And I do all these like presentations at conferences like this one. He's like, after all these years, the only thing that still makes me nervous is this conference stuff. And then he's back to eating. And I was like, just like pale as a ghost, like just done. And then, long story short, the thing that I was never going to do again is now the thing that I love the most in the world.
That's awesome. I get a lot of questions about getting better at presenting. And that's interesting because I don't have a lot of resources for people. How did you go about perfecting the art of both developing and delivering content? Because I mean, those are the same. One goes into the other. They're inseparable. There really isn't a class that I know of. What was your process to develop this skill set?
Yeah. So it was really watching a lot of different people do the thing. And you can sit in a room and listen to somebody talk, and if you're bored or not. If you're excited or not. if you're engaged or not. And there's people that can present, and they could talk for 90 minutes, and it feels like they've been going 5 minutes, and you're like, oh my gosh. I can't, like you look at your watch, you're like, wow, I can't believe I've been doing this for, and then there's people that can talk for 10 minutes and you feel like, oh my God, is this going to keep going on?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of like that, like really noticing, cause I'm a ADHD here. It's really easy you've got to be highly engaging to keep me engaged.
Yeah.
So I'm super sensitive to that.
Yep.
And then, so seeing what the people that were engaging were doing and kind of dissecting that was kind of the front end, and then like just trial and erroring stuff and seeing when we know, like you can see when you lose the room, you can see when the energy fades, you can see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So being super in tune to that, but then using that as feedback, like, oh, okay, I lost him here. Why? Let's look at my content. Let's look at how I'm delivering that. Let's look at what I'm doing with my voice and see if I can keep you engaged in that spot.
And what's so interesting is it is so many of those things. And I remember you saying this when I was still at South College, so we were teaching there together, and you always got great reviews for your courses, but part of the variable was, but the courses are cool. And your point was, no, this can be, there is a process to delivering information that can make anything engaging and anything get great reviews. Can you speak to that a bit?
Yeah. And the key to me is authenticity. Not in authenticity in delivery. That's the key. Humans are just this like hardwired inauthenticity detector. And as soon as something feels inauthentic, you're done with it. This isn't real.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's where people struggle a lot, is because people see a great presenter and they try to do what that person did.
Yes.
And that doesn't work.
That's when they guarantee not to work.
Right. Right. Because what you'll find, and this is an example I love, but at that conference where I saw Benz do his thing.
Totally.
Adrian Lowe, also an amazing presenter, also at that conference, and he was doing his thing. And the audience was super engaged there. And it was really interesting. Like, what you saw is when Adrian was on stage, he talks very fast. Got a bit of high-pitched voice. He's got a cool accent. People are into that. He tells a million jokes. He probably walks 17 miles. maybe power walks 17 miles during a 30-minute talk. You look at his slides, and they're a textbook of information. He's scanning the whole audience. And he doesn't vary his cadence. His volume is high. And if you talk to him in the bar after, that's how he sounds.
Yeah.
It's on the stage. You think about those mechanics on the stage. He just uses those to turn up the volume a bit. Now Larry Benz is up. Larry Benz comes out, sets a chair in the middle of the stage. Lights are dim. His slides don't have words on them. They're just a random picture. His voice is low. He's talking slow. His legs are crossed. Yeah. He probably burned 7 calories to Adrian's 37. And the audience was super engaged. And then you have a drink with Larry after class, and that's who he is.
Yeah.
So that really got me thinking about, okay, what are the metrics? You've got stage use, you've got body language, you've got cadence, you've got pitch, you've got use of humor and pauses, you've got how your eyes engage the audience, you've got what you do with your slides, you've got what you use the stage for. And those two humans used all those metrics very differently, but those are the variables. Those are the tools you have. And what you do is you figure out, I'm actually coaching somebody right now on this.
Yeah.
And what you do is you sit back and say, when am I the most comfortable? When am I the most authentic me? And I tell you, I want you to think about 2 scenarios. You love, this person's a PT. You love being in the clinic. And you feel super safe, engaged. You've got great therapeutic alliance.
You're flowing. Yeah.
You're flowing.
Yeah.
Identify when you flow and then dissect the environment. What's going on in that space that makes you feel that way? And what are you doing when you're your most authentic you? Now think about friends and family. You're out to dinner, your game night, you're sitting around the campfire, whatever. Wherever you're having that moment where you're telling a story with your friends and they're all like leaning in, freeze that in your mind and figure out, what do you sound like in that moment? How are you using the stage? How are you using your voice? How are you doing those things in that moment? And the clearer picture that you can come up with, how you communicate when you're the safest, most effective, most flow, take those metrics and turn them up on the stage, and that's where the authenticity lives.
I love that. Tim Flynn's one of the best presenters I've ever encountered, someone I want to always listen to when he's talking. And I think the exact same thing. He and I were out for a run, and I asked him, like, why do you think we all love to learn from you so much? Because he's such a celebrated person in the teaching space. And he was like, I don't know. He said, I think the biggest thing is I'm not trying to impress you or anything. I'm really comfortable with you getting to see me. And I remember him saying, it was not the answer I expected, but I think it just comes back to this thing where we really are starved of realness and authenticity. And when somebody's okay sharing it with you, the connection level is unlike anything that you can design around that.
And I think it comes back to the why. Why are you there?
Yeah.
Why are you teaching? Right? Because you have people that, it's how he said that. Like, I'm so glad to be here with you.
Yeah.
He was there for the students. He was the tool. The students were the consumer, and it was very student facing.
Yeah.
There's another viewpoint that doesn't work quite as well. It's like when I believe like I'm the teacher and the students are privileged to have me, and it's about the students using my time appropriately, not the other way around. Like the frame is they're there for me, not me for them. That comes out very clear and kills your authenticity.
Man. So that reminds me, I've always struggled with the conversation we're having right now is challenging for me because this has always been a struggle, helping other people find their flow state on stage and create. Because they have to find themselves, it's hard for you to find them for them. This is not an easy conversation. But I just remember thinking about, the authenticity piece of this and working with, how much of this can you really, it's self-study, right? In this lens of, here's what I'm trying to say. I feel like we can solve the problem we discussed earlier about this fear of being on the stage by what you just said. And I think that if you flip the lens like you just did, which is what nobody does, it's what solves the whole problem. And what I mean by this is people have asked me a lot, are you nervous up there? I mean, I'm excited. I don't think nervous is the right word. And they're like, well, why are you excited? And my answer to that is always, I feel like I have something of value to share. This has been true anytime I've delivered content, certainly with Ice Physio in the courses early on. What I loved and what I think gave me a lot of peace up there was I knew that I had something to serve the audience with that was really valuable. Like the things I was about to share, I was really excited to share with them. And dude, that changes everything because you can't really be nervous when you know that you're so pumped about it and you're really confident, not in yourself, but in that thing you have is going to serve these folks well. And it kind of breaks a lot of that shit down.
Yeah.
Sorry for the clunkiness of getting there, but.
And you said the thing I was hoping because you were dancing around the word, but I like for the 3 people watching, like as you were getting there, like you started to come out of the chair a little bit. You got a bit excited. And that's the thing. Like yes, I think the thing I'm going to give you is valuable, but I'm also excited about it. I cannot wait to share this with you.
Yes.
And that comes through. And it's interesting. You can't get away from me without talking about beliefs, expectation stuff.
For sure.
So you just talked about are you nervous? What we're gonna talk about what that actually is. Are you having a stress response? Are you having some adrenaline and cortisol dump out? Yes. You want to call it, I'm not nervous, I'm excited, I'm whatever.
Yeah.
But that energy, that feel, that's just a stress response. You having a stressor of a presentation coming up, you're having a stress response. This is some really cool research by Aaliyah Crum, lots of it now, looking at the outcome of an acute stress response based on your beliefs around stress. She's got this validated tool called the stress mindset scale, which measures your belief on, it's basically a negative 8 to positive 8 or 16 to 16, whatever. And on the negative side, you believe that stress is inherently bad. It's a thing that should be avoided. On the positive side, you believe that stress is a good thing that pushes you, gives you space to grow. And what you find is differences in cortisol response and clearing depending on where your mindset's at. But when you put people in psychological tests of, there's been studies where you tell people they're going to do a presentation or they're doing a job interview that's high stakes or salary negotiations or whatever. The people that have a positive stress mindset perform better than the ones that don't. Because if you believe stress is helpful, it cleans up your brain. You think fast, you have better cognitive agility. And if you don't, it works in the other direction. And it's wild. So if you frame being stressed, I'm stressed about this lecture, and you feel like that's a bad thing, you'll perform worse than if you're like, what I'm having is a stress response because I'm excited and I'm gonna be clean and crush this.
What's so interesting, so I don't know that research, but I sure feel this. When I feel whatever we're calling the stress response, in my mind, it's relieving. Because I've always thought to myself, how could I possibly perform my absolute best without those systems turned on? Like, how could I possibly, in a relaxed, chill environment, give you everything I've got? It doesn't make any sense. I've never seen an athlete perform their best while they're chilling. Like, everything I've ever done that I'm like, that's the best I ever could have performed. It was with the help of all these chemicals that were making you alert and making you. So to me, it's always like those things are, every one of those is not only in my favor, but in their absence, I'd be done for. So like when that emotion comes up, I'm like, oh, there's my fuel. I find it to be necessary, not only not negative.
Yeah. And if you care about the thing, you will have that response. That's a function of caring. This is important. I care about it. My nervous system is like, okay, let's deliver. And it's fight or flight.
Right.
Like, are you running from this, or are you using this to?
Are you using
this? Dude, her thing, and she's the like co-lead investigator at the Mind Body Lab at Stanford. Lots of cool research in this space. But her thing is that the societal messaging that all stress is bad is the problem, and that's why stress is bad, because we tell people that stress is bad, should be avoided, blah, blah, blah. We make people, society has shifted you into a negative stress mindset, and then the outcome of your stress response becomes negative. Her thing is, let's shift that the other way. Let's teach people that it's positive and use it. That was a big tangent for the teaching thing, but I think that's a thing that
for sure
people struggle with is like, oh my God, I'm so nervous.
Totally.
Like, no, you're excited. You care. Use it. That excitement has to come out. And I would say if you were not having a stress response, if you were not excited or nervous or whatever you want to say walking on stage, you don't belong on a stage.
Elevated, you know?
You shouldn't be there.
Totally.
Elevated. I'm so glad you said that.
Dude, that's how it feels. Like, that's my internal environment.
So I've done a handful of like interview committee stuff for academia, and you know, we've worked with and brought up TAs and stuff like that. And I'm pretty confident that I can determine whether you're going to be a good teacher or not with one question. Why do you teach? Let's try it. Why do you teach, Jeff?
I feel that I can craft ideas in a way that can get audience members to move forward in a really meaningful direction. Like I think that I can change the way things are looked at or help them see things differently that makes a really meaningful impact in what they do following that engagement. And I think that skill set, I feel called to use that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, for the 7 of you watching on YouTube or whatever, what you just saw is like, you weren't expecting the question. And you weren't expecting to make you answer it. So like your first 4 words or so were just kind of a bit slow and muted. And then as you kind of went into the flow state, started talking about teaching, now your body language came on. You rose up out of the chair a little bit. You leaned into your mic. It did not matter in the moment what words you used, but I saw deep into everything about you. You were excited about teaching. You were excited about talking about teaching. You were excited about the opportunity to do it. Like you can feel that energy shift in that one question. And to me, like, I don't care what your CV is. I don't care what your background is. If I don't have some sense of that feel while you answer that question, I'm not interested. Not at all.
Interesting. I want to talk a little bit about preparation because this is what I personally, just sharing some of my experience and getting ready for, I don't care if it's graduation speeches or comments, anything we've done in the past. I don't care if it's Pizza Nice Daily Show that I love getting on in the mornings when I have the opportunity. And you're so unique in this. I can't wait for you to speak to this, but the value, everything about the way that I deliver content comes from this sort of like value, satisfaction, and preparation that I achieve. Now I'll try to unpack that a little bit. So whenever I'm getting ready to teach something and I'm working with the content, you know, and this is a pretty organic process and you're delivering it certain ways and it hits a few things fall into place and I determine that my content is valuable. And I can't really explain, I can't give it a number or anything. I can just tell you that like, I hit a spot where I'm like, dude, this needs to be shared. This is worthwhile. And the more that I nurture that, and the more that I rep that and get certain that what I'm delivering matters, everything else gets better. All of a sudden, nervousness, but don't get me wrong, I'm excited to share it. The elevation's there, but nervousness is impossible because I've developed so much confidence that what I have to pass over is so worth their time that it can't miss. And I think sometimes people don't spend enough enough time convincing themselves or creating something that they truly believe is needed to be shared. And that's why they're nervous. It's not the stage. It's not, everyone thinks it's that stuff because that's where it actually shows up. That's the moment of truth. But it's not. You didn't do the work on the front end to create something that you know, like in your soul, needs to get to the people that are about to listen. That's your problem. It's an insecurity about the value of your content, and nobody knows that. And that's why they're nervous, because there's like this deep down, subconsciously they're aware of that. But if you get to where you're like, dude, somebody has to share this because this audience, dude, if you get there with your content, a lot of the other problems go away.
I agree 70%.
We are so excited to be partnering and sponsoring our friends over at Hedge Health because they are revolutionizing home exercise program prescription. It is one of those services that so many clinics fail to really over deliver, and Hedge Health is solving that. It is the fastest, most versatile way to get home exercise programs to your patients. And with their sponsorship over here on the Ice Physio channel, they're actually creating a system where when you sign a patient up, you get $1 off the subscription, a percentage off the prescription. So if you sign 100 patients, if you simply get them loaded into the app and utilize this service for a 6-month period, you can actually reduce your subscription to $0. So again, it's a percentage per patient. So simply getting the app, which you already need because your patients deserve premium home exercise prescription, once you load them into it, you're actually saving money on Hedge Health during that 6-month period. So I cannot imagine this deal is going to last very long. If you aren't using Hedge Health right now and you want to start, get over to that page, engage with that platform, get your people signed up, and start saving some money. The link to Hedge Health is down in the show notes.
Okay. I'm going to say there's one other bullet point there.
Yep.
So it's that.
Yep.
100%. But I think it's also a lack of true preparation for the thing. In
reps.
Yeah, it's kind of like I think I'm gonna run a marathon in December, and then 3 days before I go for a 6-mile jog, and I'm like, cool, I'm ready.
Yeah.
And then you step on the stage, and you're like, yeah, I'm probably not as prepped as I should be.
Yeah.
And it's just like anything else. You've known me for quite a time. I'm a bit of an over preparer. And I've got a whole process, but I also I run a 5-day lab at South, and I know to the minute where we should be at 9:57 on day 3. Because it's just I've put so much prep in it. I've run everything in my head. If I'm building a lecture for the first time, I build it. There's a whole process. It starts with, okay, cool. What's valuable to know? Yep. And then I write that on the whiteboard, and I say, okay, cool. This is valuable to know. What are the steps to know this? And I kind of put those here are the 5 things you need to know to get this. Okay, cool. And then I flesh that out, and then I transfer it to the slides. Then I lay the slides out, and then I put a stopwatch out, and I run the lecture. I'm like, oh shit, this is 20 minutes too long. Cool, I'm gonna cut this, move this around. Ooh, when I said that out loud, that sounded weird.
Yes.
I make a note, and then I go back and I do it again. Oh, okay, that sounded better, but now this is weird. We change that out, and there's a whole lot of massaging that goes into it. And then finally, you've got this 30-minute product that's super dialed. By the time I step on the stage to say this for the first time, I've done it 30 times. And then it's dialed. Because I need, and even now, teaching things that I reteach that are recorded, I'll go back and watch the recording the last time I did this, timestamp everything, run it again. I'm like, ooh, that could be better, and repolish it and do it again. I love that process.
Okay, I got to hang on to 2 things in my mind right now because I want to come back to something you just said, but I also want to go back even further, and I want to challenge you a little bit. I'm really curious to hear what your thoughts are. I've never asked you this, even off air, and I'm curious what your thoughts are. We spoke to the value of authenticity. I have always said to people that the moments where I've created magic in front of an audience that I thought that was meaningful, that mattered, they were always unscripted because it's literally in the moment. Is there a risk of over preparation? And you're such an interesting case example because you do so many reps. Is there a chance that it can come out scripted and not leave room for responding to an audience? Or how do you balance being ready but not overly repping your pre-workout?
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna love or hate this answer.
Just send it.
It depends.
Okay.
It works for you because that is who you are.
Okay.
I've known you forever, inside and outside of work.
Yep.
And that is your authenticity.
That's fair.
You are from the hip. You are organic, and that's the way your brain works, and it comes out.
Yeah.
You've known me forever. You've watched me teach for a long time.
Yep.
I don't feel scripted, but I am scripted. I mean, there's organic moments for sure.
Yeah.
But my authenticity is in the structure, the organization, the delivery, the flow, the amount of thought that I put into every little detail.
Yeah.
And that works for me because that's who I am as a human. If I try to do the thing you do, it would be a disaster. If you did the thing I did, it wouldn't work either. Because I think the way you prep has to line up with who you are.
I love that. know thyself in both the actual stage delivery, but also in the way that you get ready for it.
Yeah.
Here's something I
would be negative nervous if I did it how you do it.
Yeah.
And you would be ramped up. Mine would be a disaster if you had to think about the stuff the way I do.
Totally. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this. So in a other episode when you and I were talking about thrust manipulation, in another one of your areas of passion, you said something that really resonated with me because it's just so true that all the reps in the world with your family or your friends or whatever are never going to get you ready for actually performing spinal thrust manipulation on a patient that you don't know who's in significant levels of pain. You can't. You simply have to go do it. I find that to be so true in the world of presentation. So to give you some background here, I'm doing this motorcycle tour around the country delivering this content about business and physical therapy to all these DPT programs. And somebody asked me at the beginning, how's the presentation? And I said, it sucks. What do you mean, how is it? I just started. I've only done it 4 times. Give me 70 reps. Do you think that your reps in the hotel room or the basement, do you think that there's a cap to what that can do? Because for me, and maybe I just don't want to do a lot of those reps, I need to get out there with the people and accept the fact that I'm going to deliver a bunch of mediocre and then remodel it in real time to create a diamond.
Yeah, there's a handful of things there. Yes, for sure. There is an absolute cap. Like there's parts of the delivery that you can only dial in, delivering it, and then
because it's got to hit, right?
Yeah.
Like you got to feel how it hits.
Yeah, you have to be super dialed in to the energy in the room, to the engagement in the room, and that's how you tweak some delivery stuff.
Yes.
But I still think the front end's important.
Yeah.
There was a thing that Britt said to me once that really stuck. It had nothing to do
with... And for the listeners, this is your other one of your...
Yeah, Britt Laudeman, she's the other lead for Total Spine. Known her forever.
Yep.
And she's big skier, winter sports human.
Yeah.
And her partner was like getting into skiing. And this was a handful of years ago now, but they were just coming out of snow season or whatever. And we hadn't chatted a bit. We were just catching up. And I said, oh, how was ski season, whatever? How's Tamir doing? That's her partner. Getting into skiing. And she said, this is the first season, like he's a good skier, but this is the first season where his skills are good enough that he doesn't really have to think about it. So now he can really pay attention to the space he's in and be present in the moment and enjoy the trees and the woods and the hills and like love the
It's
skiing.
automatic enough that he can...
And that's the thing. That's where I think the magic of the pre-prep is.
Yes.
Because if I don't know my content cold in a power out, I can give you the entire course. If I don't know it at a depth that's far beyond what I'm teaching in the course, then when I'm in front of you, so much of my cognitive load is focused on the content that I can't be dialed into delivery.
That's so true.
The deeper that I have the content, the more just automatic it is.
Yeah.
Now when I'm in the room, 100% of my brain power is not focused on what I'm teaching, because that's automatic. It's on how I'm teaching. It's engaging the audience. It's getting real-time feedback and making micro adjustments. And I love that. But my brain is free to do that because I put in all the pre-work.
I know the next slide, so I can make a joke about what's going on right here and derail and do whatever because I know what's coming. I'm not worried about that.
And I'm curious, right? So you've kind of been teaching in the same content realm forever.
Yeah.
And now, like, you don't have to do a ton of front end prep. My front end prep is very different for my thrust course than it used to be.
Yeah.
So my curious, like, now you go in and it's there, so you're just winging it. It's beautiful, which is very much same space I'm in.
Yeah.
In years 1 to 3, what did your prep look like? Was that different? And if you say,
boy, is that interesting. Well, just taking me way back.
Yeah.
I definitely, dude, this goes back to the thing for me that it keeps going back to is like, I was less sure that what I was delivering was valuable early on. I gained confidence that what I was delivering was valuable. And so I think that my rep count was way higher early on.
Your preload
my
practice rep
preload practice rep count was a lot higher. Now I think I've really embraced who I am as a person, and I almost want a little bit of vulnerability because I like that feeling. I want it to feel like I'm not sure what fits there, because that just really brings out me.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about bombing. Like I think I'm a little bit past that, you know?
Yeah. But on the front end, you had to preload a bit to get to the spot where you're free.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I think that's a thing that newer, like up and coming lecturers kind of miss.
Yeah.
Is they look at somebody that's been doing this 10, 15, 20 years and they're like, how do you prep? I'm like, oh, this is what I do. Like, but that's where I'm at now. That wasn't the trailhead.
Yeah.
That's not where I started.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't prep like I do because I've been doing this for 15 years. It's in my brain.
For sure.
My original like prep stuff was gross.
I can't imagine.
I mean,
Didn't you teach part of the course one time? Didn't you fly somewhere for Total Spine and like teach day one in the hotel or something?
Yeah. So in the very front end, one thing I would do is like, if I wasn't teaching a weekend, I would just go in my basement, set a timer, and I would run the whole weekend in my basement. Just by myself. I always joke that the people that know the most about manipulation in the country are the spiders in my basement. I would pre-ice when I was doing some other Con Ed stuff. Like I would fly, if I was teaching Friday, Saturday, I would fly in Thursday and I would run the whole seminar Friday in the hotel room and then teach Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that now, but on the years 1 to 3, when I really wanted to get it into my head to the level I didn't have to think about it, I hammered it in there.
One thing I think I did right early on that I just want to share with the audience, especially if they're just starting on a teaching journey, is embracing small rooms. I think a lot of people want to talk to a lot of people because it feels like you're successful if you're talking to 70 people. Do the value of 3 or 4 people when you're getting reps. You know, it's not going to be your best product when you're first starting off. And I knew that. I was so aware of that not that I was embarrassed if there were more people, but I really valued like the ability with a smaller room with less pressure to refine what I was doing. And I just want to say to people who are always like, I'm not going to do it. There's only 5 people. Like, man, early on, those are reps that are just so valuable.
Yeah, curious. I've got some thoughts here, but I want to know yours.
Yeah.
Why? So you say magic happens in a small room.
I think there's less distractions, you know, like there's when you have 3 people, even the way they're sitting, even having to work the physicality of the room, let alone the questions, I feel like there were a few less variables. And certainly too, in those areas, I was able to get more concentrated feedback because a relationship developed with a smaller amount of people. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, and I think you can be so much more dialed to the energy in the room, to the engagement.
Yeah.
If I'm really just taking the pulse of 4 people.
Sure.
Like taking the pulse of 30 people in the weekend is it's taxing.
Yeah.
But those 3 people, like I know exactly what you're thinking in every moment.
Yep.
And then, you know, at lunch, and like you said, you kind of develop a stronger relationship. And then, you know, at lunch, it like, dude, at 9 o'clock, I kind of saw your eyes fading a little bit.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like tell me how I could have reeled you in a bit deeper there.
And dude, what's so great is you felt okay asking that because you so over delivered for them because there were only a few folks, like they got more than what they asked for, both reps and questions and whatever, that I felt like I could say, hey, that part didn't seem to land as well for you all. Like, how would you I felt really comfortable saying that, you know?
Dude, there is nothing more fun than delivering at a level of like 100 people in the room when there's 3 in there.
For sure.
Do you remember your I'm air quote again, your last course teaching lumbar?
Yes, we were in Huey's Delaware. Yes.
There were for the audience, Jeff's teaching this course. And then I flew out to just kind of hang out, TA a little bit for the last one. Lindsay Alan was there and Lindsay was there. So we had 4 lead instructors and there were 4 students in the room. So there was 1 instructor per student. That was wild.
And they got the same product.
They got a product that weekend.
You know, it's a funny thing. Just talking about the passion for it, because we've taught for so long together in so many different areas. I've done so many things in my career, like clinically, business-wise. There is nothing, dude, and I mean this with the utmost sincerity. There is nothing that comes close to the moment when I can see that a student who's sitting in front of me just really got something. Like, dude, there's something, I don't know if it's actually visual or if it's a feeling, but it's like something changed. And like, dude, just like, dude, a lot of it, if you've been to spine courses, revolves around kind of like the pump and the mechanisms. And you can see in their eyes, like they're never going to be the same. They literally look at an entire area of their life different. There's something there's nowhere I feel more blessed than the ability to provide that for somebody, or to have the chance to provide that. Nowhere in my professional life.
And to me, that right there is the key to the whole thing. If you find yourself, like if you're listening to this right now and you're teaching and it's a bit of a hot take, maybe I should back it out, whatever.
Send it.
If you don't feel that right there, if you don't truly love this game, not even so much the content, but the art of the delivery, if you don't love being in that room and engaging these humans in that, if your like life isn't about seeking that aha moment, I don't think you belong in the classroom. I think, I find that there are people that get into teaching, you say, why do you teach? I've burned out in the clinic. I hate insurance. Like, ooh, why do you teach? I was really interested in getting into research. Like, that's awesome. But why do you teach? Because of the thing that you just said, Jeff, because this love of just that engagement, that aha, like that right there. If that's not your answer, I think you'll be happier if you find the thing you love.
Yes.
And it's so clear in the product. If you love it, it comes through.
The sense of purpose that comes with saying something in a way that was the only way that person hearing it could have connected with the material in the way they did. The sense of purpose that comes with that, I know nowhere else.
Yeah. That's why we do it. Love it.
Be honest. I'm so curious.
It's hard for me not
Which one do you like more? So here at South College, you're teaching to entry-level students. You're forming a foundation. At ICE Physio, you're in a very different role. You're taking sometimes very experienced clinicians and refining their practice. These are two very different encounters. Like this kind of first encounter setting a stage. This other one, you're often challenging beliefs that they already have. They're just two really different ways. I know the answer is I like them the same, but different. I'm not allowing you to say that. Like I'm really, let me say it this way. If you had to only do one for the rest of your life, which one would you choose? And dude, this is.
Are there barriers here, right? So money doesn't matter, time doesn't matter, none of that matters.
None of that matters. The organization of it all, none of that matters.
It's such a hard question because the thing that I love the most about all of it is doing the thing. It's not necessarily like I love the thrust content. I love the pain content. I teach MSK3, integrated pain, advanced intervention. I love all that. Like I love but what I really like is like the thing that I love the most is the delivery and the process of the delivery, like the art of taking the pulse and adjusting and connecting with the humans that's
dude,
the same
you found the escape door to the question. And it's a very fair answer. Because it kind of goes back to what we said earlier, how you said, I could do this with any course. It's not the course. It's not the target. It's the thing.
I think if you made me pick one. So with all that being aside, right? Look, my honest answer is...
Because you love the thing.
My honest answer is I love it all. But if you said, I don't care, you must pick one. Then I'm going to think about value. Like impact.
Unique value that you bring and fulfill.
The dream or kind of the impetus behind ICE from the very beginning was this is an awesome profession that could be much better.
Yeah.
And what we tried to do was create this space, this PT 2.0, this space where we can take the profession to the next level.
Yep.
And I think in the Con Ed world, what we're doing is pulling people out of the river that are already sinking.
Yep.
And I think that in academia, in PT school, where I've got 102, actually at South, I've got 200 students a year, and then I help out at Hawaii Pacific, I got 100 students there a year. So thinking about building the foundation differently the first time before you fall into the river, I think well done DPT school is a bit more impactful in the profession than well done Con Ed.
Yeah, that's such a fair answer. And the real answer is, of course, but you make a great argument. Hundreds of people that never drown in the first place is a hell of an impact.
Build the foundation right the first time.
Yep. But dude, I did love your answer. Like, that is so fair. I tried to make it sound like it's different, but you're absolutely right. The process, the magic, it's not even target dependent. It's not content. Dude, it really is the thing.
Well, one of the things, like a question I get a lot, or like one of the things that I kind of coach when I'm coaching people up is like, you know, the thrust course is a great example. Like it's changed a lot over the last 15 years, but I've been teaching kind of the same thing for 15 years. How are you not bored with it? Like, because it's not about the content.
Yeah.
To me, it's about the art, the delivery. The delivery is always different because the people in the space are always different. So I'm always challenged to meet them.
Yeah.
I'm not just reading a piece of paper to you. I'm delivering all this stuff in my head to a different subset of humans every time. And that is always exciting. I could teach you the phone book every day for 10 years and I would love it because it's not the phone book. It's the fact that you and I get to engage in a different way every time.
And I feel the same way about, because one of my very favorite parts is the unmolded clay. Like the very first moment of, you mentioned, I got to get here, right? And now what kind of gets me there? That idea of, how can I take this jumble of information? I know what I want these people to walk away with. The art of molding that clay, it doesn't really matter. The topic isn't that relevant. That puzzle, that game, insatiable for me.
Dude, that it really hit like I'd always thought that, but I didn't know how well I believed it until when I first started at South. My very first course, like my on-ramp, the PT fundamentals, great course. Yeah, lots of cool stuff happened in that course. I know that I was on-ramping to where I was going to land, which was some of the patient management stuff later on. But the lead instructor was like, "Hey, we need to rebuild some of the recorded lectures. Justin, will you build me a lecture on end feels?" that was sort of like I paused for a second, my face scrunched up, I laughed a little bit, I'm like, okay, no, seriously,
someone's got it.
And she was like, no, dude, you're the ortho guy, you could build it. I was like, but that's not really like. She's like, yeah, but here's the textbooks you're gonna use.
Couldn't get less sexy.
And then in that moment, I was like, I'm going to build the most engaging, most exciting, best damn lecture on end feels that anybody's ever heard. And I got so excited about how do I make this fun and engaging that I loved it. It came out well, the students enjoyed it. But then it was kind of that moment that really snapped. It's like, it's not about the content for me at all. That's where you can make anything engaging if your focus is on being engaging. If you love the art versus the content, then you never get bored and you can make anything fun.
We're stopping right there, dude. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.